No, JS is not shutting down.
So, once again, when I was almost done with the video and about to upload it and share it on my Discord, which by the way you should join because you get these videos early, you know what I'm saying? I saw a post on Reddit and there was an updated message from the Just Survive team. Whoa! And wouldn't you know, I guess the game actually is shutting down. So by the time this is live on my YouTube channel, Just Survive will be gone. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. Jace Hall did put up a vote on his Twitter regarding whether the community wanted Just Survive to go down temporarily for work to get reintegrated faster. But some people are calling bullshit. And with the history of this game, I don't really know what to think. What's going on, everyone? Less Sweet Lou here. Thanks for tuning in for part 2 of Is This the End of H1Z1 Just Survive? If you haven't seen part 1, link is in the description below. I encourage you to watch that before this one. So just a quick recap if you haven't watched the other video. Jace Hall was on Twitch and recently said that Just Survive is not ending on October 24th and instead will continue to go on in a maintenance mode to be eventually ported into H1Z1, the Battle Royale version. Just like being specific here since it's a little confusing with all these names. While a lot of people are happy about the prospect of this game not coming to an end, a lot of people are excited that the game that they put money into, especially for the skins and all that jazz, is not going away. There's still a lot of problems that need to be addressed. And this video is going to explore all of the problems that Just Survive faces, and hopefully we'll give Jace and his team a list of things to kind of look into. I mean, I'm not trying to act like they're probably even going to watch this video. But I think it's important that these are heard and understood, because if these issues are not addressed, it doesn't really matter if you port it into H1Z1. The game is still going to suffer the same fate and no one's going to play it. So I don't mean to be super negative, but here's what I got. There really isn't a single key element that got us to this point. There were just so many issues, so many red flags. And now that we kinda sorta know that the game isn't ending, this isn't so much of a post-mortem examination, but more so a warning, if you will. I mean, hell, these numbers don't lie. 157, that's kinda shocking for a game with an all-time high of 40,000. I'm gonna take my best shot at explaining what went wrong, so that once and for all we can finally understand. What the fuck happened to H1Z1? See what I did there? That's the name of this playlist. Alright. We have to start with Daybreak here, and their utter failure as game developers. Melee combat, it's been fucked up since 2016, and though there were some efforts to fix it, it's largely gone unaddressed, and it's unfixed to this very day. It's been a year, and virtually no real progress was made. One of the biggest sticking points in I'm Done with H1Z1 for me was the base building. The new stronghold system they introduced was absolutely brain dead. To only be able to build in prefabricated locations and have to pay some arbitrary, unexplained NPC character was absolutely mental to me. After months of people saying the system was lame, they finally changed it. They changed material requirements, and they ditched the prefabricated building locations. But ultimately, they still gave the community a watered-down version of Rust's mechanics. You might recall what I said before, if you want to go full Rust, go full Rust. But no, they didn't want to commit. So in essence, we get a half Rust, half old H1Z1 system. A Franken base builder that's just inferior to the way things used to be. I rather like the old base building system. It kind of just felt like Legos to me, and finding the right combination of those Legos could help you be more secure. Now people can make these stupid skyscrapers and shapes, but hey, you can build anywhere now, guys. Isn't that cool? Too little, too late. In regards to the safe zones, I really don't have anything more to say in this regard. It was a stupid idea, it was completely unexplained, it was ridiculous. They seemed to move away from it, but I can't for the life of me explain why they thought it was a good idea in the first place. In my opinion, if the game split was one of the first nails in the coffin, Badwater Canyon was one of the last nails in the coffin for the game. While many of us saw the signs coming beforehand, Badwater Canyon was a serious misstep in development, for a number of reasons really. The first thing that jumps into my head is, why are you going to release a map when the one that exists is currently incomplete, and in many ways a hot mess? I mean, Z1, listen, it worked We have a lot of good memories there, but there is still plenty of cosmetic issues. There was weird doorways, there was messed up textures, hell, the water never surpassed your ankles, ever. I'm no game designer, but doesn't it make sense to at least finish a product before jumping on to the next one? When I work on videos, normally I script, I record voiceover, and then I edit. I may film and harvest footage for multiple videos at once, but usually I'm pretty focused on one video at a time. What's my logic there, you ask? Well, I'm not going to release a rough cut. I'll give you a finished product. And I assume the logic could be similar here. In their case, the in-game assets, the guns, the NPCs, etc., are equivalent to the footage I would harvest for multiple videos. They could make those assets for multiple maps, but ultimately their goal should have been to make Z1 as polished and functional as possible before moving on to another map. In proceeding the way they did, they left us at first with a shitty barren map with not much to do, and in the long run left us with the same shitty barren map and the same old map with the same old issues. And to go even deeper, how in the fuck did they think it was a wise idea to release a quarter of Badwater Canyon after not doing anything deeper than skins for months? How did they think it was wise to not have any major points of interest? No city, no nothing, just nothingness, just a few campgrounds, a few little house building shit cabins, whatever. This is what you spent months working on? It's no wonder a huge part of the community hated Badwater Canyon when it first came out. It's nothing compared to Z1. It almost seems like Badwater should have been the first thing that released with the game. The emptiness could have been forgivable early on because people would have said, it's okay, they're still working on it. They're building more. Instead, you gave already frustrated players of 2 years this. Good work. And I'm sorry, I respect those of you who think Badwater Canyon's a good map and all, but I just completely disagree with you. Maybe if it was ever finished, it could have become a good map, but the way they released it, I mean, honestly, what is there even to defend? And one more question that I'm sure we'll never get the answer to, if ultimately they were just able to give us the Z1 map as well, why did they restrict players to Badwater in the first place? If they knew it was an incomplete map, it was only a quarter of the space, why wouldn't you just leave the old map there? And then if you're so married to it and the community likes it, sunset it later once Badwater is fully functional. And speaking of all this stagnation and lack of development, there was one thing that kept on rolling, that kept being created. Skins. The only thing that truly matters in video games is textures that you pay real life money for. Brilliant. While Badwater Canyon was left to rot, to not be developed, while melee combat was never fully repaired, you bet your ass Daybreak was hard at work releasing. Man, I was going to get you a list of all of them, but even these guys were like, yeah, fuck this game after 2016. Here's an actual list. Look at all this shit. Just look at all those textures. Aren't you glad they spent the time and effort on the blatant cash grab? I'm glad zombies can just walk through doors. Maybe they'll just fear our absolutely on fleek skin game, you know, and they'll just run and it won't matter. And as we speak of skins, I'm sure games like H1Z1 Battle Royale, PUBG, and Fortnite come to mind. They all deal in skins too, of course. It's a huge moneymaker. And honestly, I don't necessarily have a problem with skins. If you want to spend your money on textures, cool man, be my guest. But don't be shocked if things don't work out after you've invested hundreds of dollars into a game that isn't even finished. I mean, Steam's second rule to the devs regarding this matter is, do not make specific promises about future events. For example, there is no way you can know exactly when the game will be finished, that the game will be finished, or that planned future editions will definitely happen. Do not ask your customers to bet on the future of your game. Customers should be buying your game based on its current state, not on promises of a future that may or may not be realized. Alright, it's time for some hot takes. Now, a large part of the problem comes from the game's trash Reddit community. And maybe that's not fair of me to say because honestly, a lot of you might have found this channel through Reddit. Though I will say my analytics beg to differ, but that's neither here nor there. But honestly, this isn't like a blanket statement like everyone on Reddit's a piece of shit, but this is meant to target the more extreme cases. The average people on Reddit are probably fine, but then there are the few. The Daybreak White Knights, for example, are some of the fucking worst people to talk to on there. Can you believe after everything that's happened, there are still still people defending Daybreak's actions, accusing other people of being entitled. Yeah, maybe some people feel entitled to owning the game they paid for and being able to continue playing it. Maybe that's not such a crazy idea. Maybe some people just aren't as reserved about it and don't care about making a scene. Some people lash out on forums, others say nothing. Some losers make videos on YouTube about it. And to be clear here, I do agree with the sentiment that you invested in an early access game and you don't really have a guarantee for the future. According to the Steam Early Access FAQ, it's up to the developer to determine when they are ready to, quote, release. Some developers have a concrete deadline in mind, while others will get a better sense as the development of the game progresses. You should be aware that some teams will be unable to, quote, finish their game. So you should only buy an early access game if you are excited about playing it in its current state. So that's plain as day. I agree with it. It's more just a general attitude on that subreddit. There are some people on there who insist Daybreak did nothing wrong. There are some people who called other people who didn't like Badwater crybabies and whiners. Dude, how are you defending an incomplete map with barely anything on it? I don't understand how you're so passionately connected to that. And how are you standing by a company that spewed promises, didn't deliver on them, left a game in complete disarray, and then pulled the plug on it? How are the people with dissenting opinions in the community the problem? Opposite the White Knights, you have the End of Days Game is Dying posters for the last 2 years. That really helped the vibe on that subreddit, huh? The people who had nothing better to contribute to the conversation other than saying snarky things like, people still play this game? Or, well, the game is dead. Dude, get a life. Like, Jesus Christ. And then, within the already fucked up community on the subreddit, further divisions emerged. There was the PvE versus PvP player struggle. The differences between the PvE and PvP communities really helped split the already split up development team. The devs had to start worrying about problems that would inevitably have to treat servers with different mentalities. For example, in PvE, you can't raid, so you would always have dickheads hoarding all the vehicles in their bases. In order to fix it, they just gave vehicles a really fast decay rate. Brilliant. So now when solo players or small groups have a vehicle, they need to watch it like a hawk because some PvE players were complaining about it. You see the issue? PvE and PvP mindsets are so vastly different. You can't hope to please everyone, so what's the result? They tried to please everyone, they ended up pleasing no one, and then watched people argue on their subreddit. And of course, we can't talk about this subreddit without mentioning the censorship. Back in the day, my buddy posted that old video on the subreddit. He titled it, "A Pretty Honest Review of Whatever This Game Has Become." It was pretty cool because the people who were commenting saw the validity in what I was saying. I received a great response, which is amazing, especially for Reddit. And by the way, thank you for subscribing if you did subscribe then, you beauties. But shortly after posting, the thread got locked. Why? Well, obviously because of breach of rule number 4. No drama, especially witch hunts. Now I'm gonna level with you. I'm no expert on drama. But when you have a series of people on Reddit, of all places, agreeing on something, I feel like that's the antithesis of drama. I don't know, I wanted to get Keemstar on this video, but he was busy. Anyway, the original poster messaged the mods about it and spoke to Dadbot. Dadbot informed OP about a month of toxic, angry, unproductive threads in August, which is why the thread got closed down. Interestingly enough, though, Dadbot didn't even bother to watch the video. He just skimmed it, according to him, and then locked the thread. Way to shoot first and ask questions later, am I right? Well, that was 11 months ago, and Dadbot never responded, never unlocked the thread, and presumably never watched the video. That kind of censorship is very harmful, in my opinion. To try and stifle dissenting thought or block out criticism that, hey, in reality, it might hurt your feelings, but it also might help you improve. It's just immature and short-sighted. So with all this bullshit in mind on Reddit, is it really a mystery why Daybreak didn't update the community often? They would just be met with a mob every time they farted. And don't get me wrong, they're absolute pussies for not communicating. They're bags of scum. But honestly, the more vocal part of the Reddit community surely didn't help that problem either. And one last thought in regards to the fighting on Reddit over the game's direction. I think Daybreak really fucked up here too. I think they spent way too much time trying to appease everyone, and they lost their own vision for the game. I mean, look at Badwater's introduction. Safe spaces, buying land, choosing respawn points. That doesn't sound at all like a survival game to me. What it sounds like is a game that's really lost its identity, and now it's flailing, trying to figure out what to do. And speaking about a zombie survival game that's lost its identity, let's talk about the zombies for just a quick second, because this video is getting kind of long. But the zombies are just still fucked up. I already showed how they can pass through walls, but sometimes their AI bugs out. They don't even pay attention to you. Earlier today when I was grabbing footage for this video, I literally just walked right through a crowd of them, and none of them really cared. For years, the zombies have not been working properly. They've never really been 100%. And I get it, it's an alpha, it's an incomplete game, but it's something that needs to be addressed, and I think it's slightly higher priority than skins. And finally, of course, we can't forget about the cheaters and the ping issues. I don't really have too much more to say about this issue. It's really been a problem since day one. Many people, including me, have talked about it in the past. And on that note, one weird thing I noticed as I was writing this is most of these issues are things that I said in the I'm done with H1Z1 video 11 months ago. Think about that for a moment. Essentially, for 11 months, they put their community on hold. Sure, there were incremental changes, there was some base building redesign work, but apart from that, it's widely the same broken game from almost a year ago. It's frankly unacceptable, and it's really a bummer to think that Steam doesn't come down on these early access games that are clearly profiting off of players' expectations. But unfortunately, that's how it is. This video might sound harsh, and frankly it is. Daybreak ruined this game. A game with tons of potential. A game that my friends and I poured hours into. We had good times around Ranchito. We made some cool friends, we made some silly videos, and I'm really glad I spent the time playing it. When my friends and I paid $20 for this game, we wanted to just have a good time with it. And we did, honestly. Now that the game seems to have some sort of future, I think this video is more important than ever. Because if Daybreak or Nant or Jace or whoever doesn't learn from the mistakes of the past, doesn't understand the consistent failures of Just Survive, the game doesn't have a future regardless. While I was over the game, while I refused to play it seriously, I still kept tabs on the development. I still booted it up every once in a while. And under the right circumstances, I would have been back on the game daily. Holy shit, guys, that was a long video, and it got even longer with all the extra stuff added in about the game actually coming back, so this video would have been up sooner, but hey, you know, you gotta stay up to date with the latest anime storylines of Just Survive. Okay, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you, and thanks for sticking around. Sorry I've been MIA. I'll be putting out an update video about that soon too. So you guys stay classy, and I'll see you around. Make sure you join my Discord and hit subscribe and smash the bell and all that fun stuff. All right, bye.